She thought leaving quietly would save her. She was wrong. The road out of town was empty. Too empty. No wagons, no travelers, not even the sound of birds, just wind, dragging dust across the dry western trail. And in the middle of it, she walked, alone. Her steps were quick, uneven, like she didn't belong there, like she wasn't supposed to be seen. She clutched a small bag tightly to her chest, her fingers shaking, her breath shallow. Every few seconds, she looked back. Not once, not twice, again and again, because deep down, she knew. They would come. They won't notice it, they won't notice, she whispered. But her voice didn't believe it, not even a little. The town behind her was fading, buildings turning into shadows, memories turning into distance, freedom, almost within reach. Then, hoofbeats, far away, but real. Her body froze, instantly. The air changed. That quiet road suddenly felt hunted. Slowly. She turned her head, and there, in the distance, 3 riders, dark silhouettes, cutting through the dust, coming straight toward her, fast, too fast. Her heart dropped. No! No, no! She started walking faster, then running. Her dress caught in the wind, her shoes slipping in the dirt, her breathing breaking apart. Behind her, the riders were gaining, laughing, loud, cruel. She thought she could run. Not from us. Her legs weakened, her vision blurred. Tears filled her eyes as she pushed forward. But it wasn't enough. It would never be enough. The sound of hooves got louder. In the distance, 3 riders, dark silhouettes cutting through the dust, coming straight toward her. Fast, too fast. Her heart dropped. No, no, no. She started walking faster, then running. Her dress caught in the wind, her shoes slipping in the dirt, her breathing breaking apart. Behind her, the riders were gaining, laughing, loud, cruel. She thought she could run. Not from us. Her legs weakened, her vision blurred. Tears filled her eyes as she pushed forward. But it wasn't enough. It would never be enough. The sound of hooves got louder. Closer, closer, until a second sound joined them. Different, slower, controlled. She didn't notice at first, too focused on fear. But then, a shadow moved beside her, perfectly in rhythm. Same direction, same speed. She turned, confused, breathless, and saw him, a cowboy, riding right next to her. Calm, steady, like he had always been there, his face hidden under a black hat, eyes unreadable. She stumbled slightly, shock replacing fear for a moment. Who are you? He didn't look at her, didn't slow down, didn't explain. The riders behind them laughed louder. Well, look at that. She found herself company. The cowboy finally spoke, low, cold, unshaken. You won't be alone anymore. The words hit different. Not loud, not dramatic, but certain. Final. The girl stared at him, still trying to understand, still trying to breathe. Behind them, the riders drew their guns, smiles turning sharp, danger rising fast. The cowboy's hand rested near his holster, relaxed, ready, and for the first time, the girl realized something. She wasn't being chased anymore. She was being escorted, and the men behind them, they had just made a mistake. They didn't shoot. They wanted it slower. The riders got closer. This time, they weren't laughing the same way. It was quieter, darker, more dangerous. The girl tried to keep running beside the horse, but her strength was fading. Her breathing broke again. I can't keep up. The cowboy didn't answer. He simply slowed his horse slightly, matching her pace, controlled, steady. Behind them, the outlaws spread out, not rushing anymore, surrounding, hunting. They're not trying to catch us, she whispered, fear rising again. The cowboy finally glanced back. They don't need to. That answer chilled her. One of the riders moved ahead, cutting their path. The other two closed in from behind. Now they were surrounded. The horses stomped the ground, dust rising slowly around them. The girl stopped. Completely. Her legs gave up. "No, please," she whispered. The cowboy's horse came to a halt beside her. He didn't move, didn't panic, just watched. The leader stepped forward. This time, no gun. Instead, a long blade, steel catching the sunlight, sharp, cold. He dragged it slowly against his saddle. Scrrt. The sound cut through the air. "You should have stayed in town," he said. The girl stepped back, her hands shaking, her eyes filled with fear again. "They'll kill her," she whispered. The cowboy didn't look at her. "They'll try." The leader smiled. Dark, cruel. "You talk too calm for a dead man." He raised his sword slightly. The other two followed. 3 blades, glinting, deadly. The wind slowed, like the world itself was watching. The girl's heartbeat echoed in her ears. "Please," she said, barely audible. The cowboy finally moved. Slowly, he stepped down from his horse, boot hitting the ground. Soft, heavy, final. Dust lifted around him. His hand lowered to his side, not rushed, not tense, just ready. "You can still walk away," he said. Silence. The outlaws looked at each other, then laughed. Louder now, more confident. "Walk away?" the leader repeated. "From her?" He pointed the blade toward the girl. "She belongs to us now." The air changed, instantly. The cowboy's head tilted slightly. That calm, it turned colder. Dangerous. "Wrong answer." The leader stepped forward, sword raised, aggressive. "Then die with her." The girl gasped, stepping back quickly. The circle tightened, dust rising higher. The blades moved closer. The cowboy stood still, unmoving, unshaken. And for the first time, the girl realized something terrifying. He wasn't afraid. Not even a little. And the men around them? They didn't understand that yet. But they were about to. They swung first, and that sealed their fate. The leader lunged, fast, aggressive. His blade cut through the air, aimed straight for the cowboy's chest. The girl gasped, stepping back in panic. But the cowboy moved. Not back, not away, forward. Just enough. His hand came up, and in a flash, steel met steel, clang. The sound echoed sharp across the empty land. Sparks burst between the blades. The leader's eyes widened. He hadn't even seen the cowboy draw his weapon. But now, there it was, a narrow, worn blade in his hand. Simple, but deadly. The cowboy didn't push, didn't rush. He held the strike, then turned his wrist slightly. The leader's sword slid off balance. One small move, one perfect shift. The leader stumbled forward, exposed. The cowboy stepped aside, and with a single motion, slash. The blade cut clean across the leader's shoulder, not deep enough to kill, but enough to stop him, enough to break him. The leader dropped to one knee, a sharp breath escaping him, pain, shock, confusion. "How?" he whispered. Too late. The other two charged, both at once, desperate, furious. The girl cried out, "No!" But the cowboy didn't turn, didn't hesitate. He moved, smooth, controlled. The first attacker swung wildly, too fast, too open. The cowboy leaned back, let the blade pass, then stepped in. Close, too close. Slash. A precise strike. The man froze, then collapsed into the dust. Gone. The second attacker roared, swinging harder, stronger, but not smarter. The cowboy blocked. Clang. Their blades locked for a moment. Eyes met. Fear on one side, silence on the other. The attacker pushed harder, trying to overpower him. The cowboy didn't resist. He stepped back slightly, then twisted. The blade slipped free, and in one clean motion, slash. The fight ended. The man dropped. Silence returned. Only the wind remained. The girl stood frozen, her eyes wide, her breath gone. 3 men, 3 attacks, and none of them even touched him. The leader struggled on the ground, trying to stand, failing. He looked up at the cowboy, fear finally there, real, deep. "You," he said, voice shaking, "you're not normal." The cowboy lowered his blade slightly, not relaxed, just finished. "I told you to walk away." The leader's hand trembled, his grip on the sword weakening. For the first time, he understood. This was never a fight. This was a mistake. Now, he finally understood who he had challenged. The wind slowed, like the world itself was watching what came next. The leader pushed himself up, barely, his legs shaking, his breath broken, blood slowly spreading across his shoulder. But his eyes, locked on the cowboy, not angry anymore, not confident, afraid. Real fear. "You," he muttered. "Who are you?" The cowboy didn't answer, didn't move, didn't need to. Silence hit harder than any blade. The leader tried to lift his sword again. His hand trembled, weak, unstable. Still. He forced himself forward, 1 step, then another, stubborn, desperate. "I'm not done," he growled. But even he didn't believe it. The cowboy tilted his head slightly, watching, measuring, waiting. "You already are," he said quietly. The words landed heavy. Final. The leader let out a broken laugh. "You think you win just like that?" No response. Just wind. Just dust. The cowboy stepped forward. Slow. Each step echoing louder than the last. The girl watched. Frozen. This wasn't a fight anymore. This was something else. Something inevitable. The leader's breathing grew faster, panic creeping in. His grip slipped slightly. He tried to hide it, but couldn't. The cowboy stopped a few steps away. Close enough now. Too close. "Drop it," he said. Simple. Cold. No emotion. The leader's eyes flickered. For a moment, it looked like he might, like he finally understood, like he would choose to live. But pride ruins men. He tightened his grip again, raised the blade, roaring, "Never!" and charged, wild, uncontrolled. The cowboy moved, not fast, not rushed, just right. He stepped aside, let the attack pass, and in the same motion, turned. One clean movement. One perfect strike. Slash. The sound cut through everything. The leader froze mid-step, his eyes wide, sword slipping from his hand. The fight ended. He dropped slowly to the ground, dust rising around him. Silence followed. Deep, heavy, final. The wind returned. Soft now, carrying away what was left of the moment. The cowboy stood still. Blade lowered. No victory, no pride. Just quiet. Behind him, the girl finally exhaled, a breath she had been holding for far too long. Her voice barely came out. "It's over?" The cowboy didn't turn, didn't look back, but he answered, "Yes." And for the first time, there was no danger left in the air, only silence, and something peaceful. He didn't come to be a hero, but he didn't leave her alone. The wind softened. Dust settled slowly across the empty road. 3 bodies lay still behind them. The danger, gone. Just like that. The girl stood there, frozen, her hands still trembling, her breath uneven, but her eyes locked on him. The cowboy wiped his blade calmly, then slid it back into its sheath. No rush, no pride, like it was nothing, like it was routine. For a few seconds, silence, only the sound of the wind passing between them. Then, he turned, facing her, for the first time, not as a shadow, but as someone real. "You're safe now," he said, his voice, still low, still calm, but softer. The girl tried to speak, but her voice broke. I I thought I was going to die. A pause. Her eyes filled with tears again. But you... She couldn't finish. Didn't need to. He understood. He always did. You shouldn't travel alone out here, he said. Simple, but true. She looked down, then back at him. Will you leave too? She asked quietly. That question changed everything. The wind slowed again, like even the world wanted to hear the answer. The cowboy looked toward the horizon, long, empty, endless. The kind of road that takes people and never gives them back. For a moment, it felt like he would say yes, like he always did, like he always had, but then he looked back at her, and something shifted, something small, but real. He adjusted his hat slightly, then said, "Not this time." Her eyes widened, just a little. Hope, replacing fear, slowly, carefully. He walked to his horse, untied the reins, then turned back to her. Come on. No explanation, no promises, just those 2 words. But they were enough. She stepped forward, hesitant, still unsure, but trusting him now. More than anything. He reached out his hand. She took it, and this time, her hand didn't shake. He helped her onto the horse, then climbed up behind her. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in gold and fire. As the horse began to move, slowly down the empty road, the wind carried the last of the dust away. Behind them, only silence. Ahead, only the unknown. But now, she wasn't alone. And as they disappeared into the horizon, the story changed. From fear to something else, something stronger, something people would remember. A man who appeared when needed, and stayed just long enough. Never alone again.
If you felt this story, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And tell me, what story should I create next? Because the next story might be yours.